my question is, if I remember right, so a few weeks ago we were talking about concentrating, doing some SEO on category pages, right? And that's what we're going to recommend to the client. We're going to be talking to them tomorrow and putting FAQs on that. The question is, say, there's a category and they already rank really well for that category keyword or a couple of them related to that on another page in their site.
Right.
You start doing the same thing on the category page itself. Do you have to be careful and not tell Google, oh, you don't want them to transfer that ranking to another page?
So yeah, so great question, because if you have several pages on the website and they're trying to rank for a similar phrase, what we call that keyword cannibalization, where it's the idea that one page is doing well for a word, and then we have another page, we could be diluting our effort. And what the effect that has is that Google wants to serve the best page to the user. And so it will sometimes shift and test out the second page and then flip around. That just throws your data off because you're really not able to be as clear at things. Okay. That's also why rank is kind of you got to be careful about that, because it's shifting all the time. Google is testing the SERPs, so just understand that. But sometimes in that test, whatever systems Google uses, it will pick the wrong page, or a page that isn't set up for conversion, or some sort of like archival page somewhere in your system that's like, why on earth would you serve that page? It's the last page I want to serve. So cleaning up duplicated content to prevent keyword cannibalization is very important. The way to prevent this is an important step in the keyword research process. So, or I should say, maybe it's after the keyword research process. One of the steps is creating an SEO blueprint. And that's the idea of, we've done the keyword research, we understand how people may search for all the different things that someone could look for a customer. But now we need to have a strategy to map those ideas to pages. Mm-hmm. So this means that, okay, and again, Google is thinking topic, not keyword, right? So we have several keywords under one topic that goes under a page. So we don't want to have a page per keyword. That's like really old school SEO. We want a page per topic, understanding that there's going to be many keywords per page. Mm-hmm. But we need to have a way to remind ourselves we're focusing this page on this topic, which includes this keyword. So having this map, this roadmap, this blueprint ahead of time sets you up to prevent this problem. So if you already have a page, it converts well and brings in traffic for an idea, you probably don't need to take advantage of the content on that category page. So that saves you a page to write, right? But it's for those pages that don't have something yet. That might be worth starting for the category pages. But having the blueprint together allows you to organize your process, and then kind of, because you know the keyword research, you know what people are searching for more than other topics, you kind of know where to start. We need to we've already got these pages. These already have proven search volume, so there's opportunity for us to show up on these phrases. But we don't have pages for these. So let's start with the ones that we don't have pages for or much on our website about, and go. Now, what you might find in this example is that, let's say you find out that the category pages that you're newly building out, because you don't, for example, have that content on your site yet, what if they start converting really well? Right? Those tend to have a pretty high conversion rate as opposed to another, like a blog post landing page or something like that. Well, that at that point you might think, oh, well, maybe then I should convert the blog post into the category page, right? Almost move the content onto the category page that doesn't have it because you didn't build that category page because you've already got a page showing up for that idea. But what I'm recommending is waiting until you have that data to see how well your category pages convert before you do it. So step one is do the keyword research. Step two is create the blueprint. And then from the blueprint, you'll kind of already know, I already have a page about this. But you'll also identify what pages, i.e. what category pages you need to create. Then with the data on those pages, you might decide, oh, wow, like these are converting much better on average than a similar page that's not a category page, or vice versa. These convert very poorly compared to another page. Then you can adjust your strategy, you can shift around. And there's whole strategies on how you might tell Google, hey, I used to have this page, but I really would rather have that page rank for this idea.
Just writing down.
Yeah.
I had another question related to that. On a sec. Okay. And so last time we also talked about putting FAQs on the category pages, right?
Right.
I'm wondering if from a user perspective, we need to do that anyway, almost regardless of SEO.
Okay.
And I'm wondering,
Why would you
however,
say-
now that I say that, typically you're going to put the FAQ at the bottom of a page, but most people don't scroll there anyway. So then, okay, so really what you're saying is if there's a category page and there's no ranking, so to speak, for any of the keywords that this category page is about, that's the one to build out.
Right.
Okay.
So let's say you have a page, let's say it's a blog post that maybe is doing really well for a particular product line.
Yeah.
You also have a category page with no content.
Correct.
You could, and it would probably be a really good idea to go to the category page and rather than blow it out with more content, potentially creating a keyword cannibalization problem, you could just add a small sentence or two at the bottom of that page saying, for more information about this topic, go to this page.
Yeah.
This does several things. It builds an internal link, which is really, really helpful.
That's good. Yeah. That's
Right.
good.
Two, if users do want to get more information, they can go here. Done. Right. Now, if we weren't considering SEO, maybe from a usability thing, we would say, hey, we want to put the content in front of people when they are looking for it so they don't leave the page. But presumably on the page that is doing well for that topic already, you're going to link back to the page where they can see the choices of products available, i.e. the category page. Now, with link building, we don't want to link back and forth from other websites, but we can link back and forth within our own site.
Right. Yeah. And I know we want to do that. Yeah.
Right. So there's several, like, and so in other words, in the category page, you might have a sentence to say, if you want to learn more about insert topic here, we've written about it more comprehensively on our blog. You can read the post. Here it is. that's not enough content for that page to competitively rank, because the blog post presumably has a volume enough to show up. You might, in an odd situation, find that Google tests out the category page, but you should be able to check that in Search Console, because you can do the query and it'll show you which pages show up for that query.
Mhm.
That's how you identify a cannibalization problem, right?
So say that blog page is ranking well. I would imagine then you would want to say, hey, to check out products in this, I don't know, in this vein, or to check out more of our cable type products, go to this category page.
Right.
So you want to link back to both, maybe?
Yeah. Normally, if we're talking about one external website to another, we would not want to trade links like that. That's external.
Yeah, internal, yeah, you do that.
Internal, totally acceptable.
Would you think that overall a good strategy then would be okay, so the company that we're doing, they're doing some social media and email and all that kind of stuff. I'm wondering then if the best strategy would be to, well, not necessarily. Well, okay, because normally if you're going to share stuff on social media, typically you would say, hey, go check out our blog to learn more about our cable ties. You know, what it's really about. And that goes to the blog page. But I guess that could go to a category page as well if that category page acts like a blog page.
Yes. You know,
No
best practices for any SEO content is headlines that divide up the content.
Yeah.
And if those headlines are questions that real people ask, which you've determined through your keyword research what people are asking about these products, now you have the best of both worlds. You have a page that shows the variety of products you have.
Yeah.
Plus a resource on that page about those products. So ideally people land on that page who are looking for that product, and they learn everything they need to know to consider the product, to buy the product, to use it properly. So now that page is actually a resource page.
Yeah.
So you could share it. You could almost share it on social media by saying, we're going to so there's like, let's say there's a question, how to use this, what to look for when buying this, you know, the pluses and minuses of using this over another. Like those are 3 topics that are on your FAQ relating these products. That's also 3 social media posts. And you can link to the product, you know, and you say, hey, are you curious what you should look for when buying a product? We showcase it here. Check it out. Now you might say at the bottom of the page or something like that to help get the users there. But you know, one of the best parts about that kind of strategy is that if you take the time to write content that is sincerely answering questions people are asking, it can be a link magnet from other websites as people research, what should you look for when buying a zip tie?
Yeah.
Okay, now people who's writing an article on their website might use you as a source and link to your product page. That's really hard when it comes to e-commerce SEO. But if your product page or your category page is a resource which is very, very helpful, in addition to showcasing the variety of products you have, now expecting someone to link to your product page is reasonable, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking though from a user perspective, somebody coming in and correct me if I'm wrong. It almost sounds like if I'm a user and I'm like, oh, okay, let me know about cable ties. I see a blog post that gives me everything about cable ties. And then that would link over to, hey, here's where you can buy our cable ties. That would be the best way to do it. because I've already learned about cable ties of what and educated because that's what I want to know about. As opposed to if I want to, I don't know, it just seems like sharing a category page on social media seems so, I don't know, self-serving.
Well, and that's why having the content on there that's not necessarily an advertisement,
Yeah.
right? Is makes that a resource page, not just a sales page. And if
I'm
it's a
just
category,
wondering,
most e-commerce category pages aren't designed for conversion anyway,
yeah,
right? It's the product page that's like buy now,
you're right, right.
right? So if you think about it one way, it's almost like having a call to action at the top of your page, and then you scroll down, you read about the product or service, and you go back up to the top to get to the call to action, right? There's a reason you do that, because now you can, when someone lands on the page, they immediately identify what they can do in order to get what they need if they determine this is what they need. They might not be ready yet, but at least they know there's a next steps almost subconsciously because they can see the big red button at the top of the page, right? So the products at the top of the page, presumably, are saying, look at all that we have, but keep reading to read more. And so it's a very subtle way of saying you can also get it from us, but scroll down. So one way I would do this on an e-commerce website is, and we kind of talked about this last time, put a little content above the product.
Yeah.
And you can even tease people to get more information about these products, please scroll to the bottom. Or you could have a link that just jumps to the content at the bottom, right? Here, read more about this, click, it just scrolls you back down to the bottom where you can get these answers. And so then it's like, okay, if I'm there because I want it as a resource, I can get to the resources. If I'm there because I want a product that I want to buy, I can see the breadth of products available and choose the right one. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
Potentially.
You know,
Potentially,
like,
I'm just trying to think about the user experience.
Right.
Like people are used to like scrolling through a blog and then they're like, oh, okay, you have your call to action at the bottom or in the middle of what you want them to do. And then they do that. And maybe the part of that call to action is, hey, we offer just a ton of different cable ties. Here's our 3 most popular ones. And then you might put 3 products there that people mostly buy. And then, hey, if you see more products, then that's a link over to the category page. And so they've already got educated on it. Then they go to the category page. And then bam, right away, then they get to see the products.
Right. So devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
If I write a blog post about what you should look for when buying zip ties, make sure that this kind of plastic, prefer this diameter, width, thickness, or whatever it is. And I write my words. Someone might find that article in Google or social media, click on it, get their question answered, and leave.
Correct.
But if they land on a page that showcases the products.
Well, that's why on the blog post, you would like say, hey, here's a few examples, click over here, category page for more.
Right.
So maybe that's a good strategy. But then on the category page, you have the FAQs that are the FAQs about the products and their great benefits and features. So in other words, that's products. The blog post is more like, hey, what to look for. And
well, so the downside of that is that the category page becomes so self-promotional why we talked about the category page as a huge opportunity for SEO is because people don't search for, I need a blue zip tie that's 4 millimeters in width and 16 inches long. Some do, and presumably if you have that product, they'll land on that product page. But they say, I need a zip tie and I don't know which one I need. You want them to land on the most relevant page. To get them to land on that most relevant page, you need a critical mass of content on that page.
Correct.
That's why we're talking about building the FAQ on that page. So people land on the page to showcase. If they land on the blog, you have to convince them to take the next step to go to that page.
That's true. And every click is a disincentive to buy, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. All
But
right.
I
So
think there's a way to test this, right? You already have some pages that are showing up and doing well.
yes.
And you could just optimize those to say, oh, and go look at our products here to see what we got. And then you have some pages that you haven't built out yet with categories that you don't have a blog post about yet. You could build out the category pages with the new ones. This, number one, will not lead to cannibalization because you're only building out the category pages because they don't already have something on your site somewhere. And then you can kind of look and compare the conversion rates. Does landing on a category page that we've optimized for content more likely or less likely to convert into a sale than a blog post that's optimized? They're from different words, so you have to consider, search volume and stuff like that. But I think you could have enough data to say, oh, people are more likely to become a customer if they land or don't land on the category page.
I think probably the conversion would be then it starts getting complicated because, okay, say the category page, then we built it out with the FAQ or whatever for keywords that we're not ranking for elsewhere. So we do that, and then we start getting more traffic to it, which will happen, right? The thing is, knowing if that leads to more sales, you would have to think, okay, well, we got the category page built out. If it's not leading to more sales, is it the way the category page is structured? Do we have the products that nobody cares about on the top? Or is there something wrong with our actual product pages that they may be clicking to? So you got to look and see, are people actually, so really a conversion then on that category page, you would say, is clicking to a product.
Right. Well, in both cases, you'd want to set up e-commerce tracking and say, okay, people who land on this blog post convert at this rate, 5%. And because we've set up conversions to being completed a sale. And people who land on this category page convert at 7%. We know that the category page has a higher conversion rate, which counts for traffic, right? Because it's a rate, it's a ratio. I think that would at least give you inclination, and then you can use tools like Microsoft Clarity to look at people interacting with the pages and see,
I think that would be important to
right? Are people clicking the link to get to the category page from the blog post? Are people scrolling back up to the top of the category page to look at the products and purchase one, right? That's something like Microsoft Clarity could show you.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk with my team more about this.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how it all pans out at the end, because you're right, this will lead to more questions. But at the end of the day, I think the best part is whether you create a blog post to promote this or put the content on the category page, you're going to get more people to the site and you're going to get more conversions. Could it be better? Maybe. And we'll try to figure out what would make it better. But even just doing the initial, in fact, there's might be a way where it's like there's not really wrong answer, because as long as you're adding new relevant content to your website's going to help increase your conversions. But I kind of like this division of labor to prevent cannibalization, and also to see, well, what if, can we get a category page to become more likely to convert? Right, with some new things we've not tried yet.
Yeah, really, the ideal solution is, before you're designing an e-commerce site, to do the SEO planning on it, to decide, okay, what do we do with our category pages versus blogs?
This is why I beg people to hire me before they design.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lot harder to go and hack a website to add content to category pages because we didn't think we might need it, and now we suddenly need it, than it is to plan it accordingly.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that. That is exactly what I tell all my clients. Hire me before, please. Right, so we can build a strategy around this. If they're like, no, I don't want any content on my category pages, well, I disagree with that strategy, but at least we can account, okay, well, then we have to have another situation, and we can plan for that.
Well, I would say,
or vice versa.
Like probably in your experience, but in my experience, there's well, most of the time there is not content on category pages. Most of the time.
And it's a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I've had the e-commerce clients I've worked at, it's just basically month to month, we're just saying, okay, what category pages are we going to write out this month? And it works. It works. And, supplementing with the blog for all the benefits of the blog, internal links, long tail keywords, all kinds of benefits. But this is just a good e-commerce strategy, because I really feel that it's just a missed opportunity. It's a lot easier to write out a long, comprehensive category page than to write a whole bunch of blog posts and potentially lose those people as they get their question answered and go somewhere else to find the product.